New view today. Hello, everyone. We've been playing with camera placement today. Welcome. Hi. So I just wanted you to see, a different part of my house. That's just a little bit different than every other view that you have seen. Welcome. So, happy Thursday. I'm wearing some green today. This is one of my favorite shirts. I got it at Zion National Park. It's actually a child's extra large. I had to cut slits in the sleeves. Too much information. How is everyone? Welcome. So if you saw my little story just a little while ago, you might have seen that we are not going to use any pencil today. Are your minds just blown? Hello. So we're just going to jump in. We are actually going to create a landscape today, and it's going to be made of very, very simple lines and shapes that we are all capable of creating. I believe in you. I really do. So, and another thing, because of the orientation, shall we say, of the camera, I'm actually going to make my landscape not this way today. Hi Ruby, I'm actually going to do mine this way, but you can do yours this way. Just a little terminology. When you have a work of art that goes long ways this way, it is horizontal, but maybe also referred to as landscape orientation. So this is horizontal, but also called landscape. And then if you have it vertically, anybody know what that is? Anyone? This is also, when you have your paper vertically, it's called portrait. Because if you did a portrait of me right now and you put my head and shoulders on a piece of paper, it would fit better this way, wouldn't it? So that's called portrait and that's called landscape. But I'm just going to throw a wrench in the works today, and because I want to, I'm going to make my landscape drawing on the paper vertically, or portrait, just because I want to mess with stuff, because it's fun. All right, so as I say all of the time, if you don't want to use watercolors today, or if you wanted to use markers, or if you wanted to use chalk or oil pastel or colored pencil or crayon or whatever in the whole world you want to use, you go for it. But I am going to be using my permanent pen and my good old set of watercolors. So, we are also going to talk about, there were 3 words that we learned about on one of our Farm Week drawings when we created the lines of land. And I'm going to wait and see if anyone can remember what some of those, hold on just a second. Okay, there we go. Sometimes things pop up on my screen and I don't want them there. So sorry guys, so look, hold on, let me see if I can show you this. I got this whole rig set up. It looks kind of like 2 snakes coming off of a clip, and I think it might work. So, hold on, let's see if I can get this situated. Check that out. All right. So I will not deprive you of Sylvie's cute little bum. She'll just be sitting right there. But when we worked on, sorry, that was uncalled for. But when we talked about our, she's gonna have to move. When we worked on our farm landscape and we had our picture like this, it keeps pausing to reload. Is anybody's recording stopping, or is everybody okay? I hope it's okay. Give me some thumbs ups if it's okay. I hope it is. All right. So, are we good? Anyone? Okay, good. All right. So when we're making a landscape, we have what we call sort of the middle ground. Thanks, guys. Okay, good. All good. And that's sort of the middle of the space in our landscape. We also can have a line that's down below, which is called our foreground. And this is our middle ground. And then, let's say we've got some hills off in the background, and that is our background. So today, we are going to use a bunch of different lines in our landscape to establish space. So when something is further down on the page, it's closer to the viewer. When something is in the middle, that's easy, it's in the middle. And then when something is higher up on the page, it is further back in space. So is it not working, you guys? Some people are saying it's pausing. Other people are saying it's fine. So I don't know if it's on my end or what. So just one more time. Sorry, you guys. Give me some more thumbs ups if you are good. If you can hear and if everything is matched up. All good? Let's get Sylvia to okay. All right, it's fine. Okay. All right, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so on our page, and remember that I'm doing my landscape portrait. I hope that's not confusing. Sometimes I have a way of making things, less simple than they actually are. All right, so I am going to start with my foreground. And no, scratch that. Scratch that. I'm going to start with my middle ground. All right. So, and I'm just going in with pen. And all of the lines that I'm creating in my landscape, they are going to represent different things, different sort of elements of the landscape. I might have some lines that look like mountains. Mountain lines, not lions, but lines, are going to look very different than sort of a meadow kind of line. So bear with me. I'm going to be imagining that my landscape is somewhere out in the American West. And I'm going to imagine that there are mountains in the distance. I'm also going to imagine that there's maybe a beautiful lake or river down in the middle, or in the front. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create my middle ground, which is really just going to be sort of a wavy line. But if you want to imagine that your landscape is at the beach or in a different sort of part of the world, then you can represent all of these different things with different kinds of lines and shapes. So in my landscape, because it's out in the west, I'm going to have some pine trees and some more scrubby plant life. But let's say yours is at the beach. Maybe you'll have palm trees. So that's going to be up to you. So this right here is what we're going to call our middle ground. And then I'm going to create a line that's just a little bit more wavy. And I'm going to sort of pretend these are kind of the foothills, sort of where the land sort of is starting to get closer to the mountains, but it's not jagged quite yet. All right. And then I'm going to go in with some mountains. And I like really jagged peaks. It's almost like a line of a heartbeat. It's kind of random. I'm just kind of letting it go where it wants to go. And then it goes all the way off the other side of the page. So this is our middle ground. This is middle back. This is more back. And before I go any further up, I'm going to focus on some of our middle ground and our foreground. I'm going to put another sort of wavy line. Uh-oh, guys, it just paused. Is everybody still good? It's never done that before. Okay, I hope everybody's still good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, and then I like to imagine that there is, okay, good. I'm going to imagine that there is a rushing river, a mountain stream. Maybe it's melted snow. All right, I know it paused, but are we good now? Everybody good? It said it had due to bad connection. All right, I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to hope that it works. Okay. And now, because I'm in a rushing river down here, I'm going to make some lines that look like water. I'm so sorry. Some people are saying it's great, and some people are saying that it's not working. But the good thing is, I'm hoping that when this is all done, then you can watch it later. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off the foreground with a bunch of water kind of lines. It's paused on my face. That's funny. Because I'm drawing right now. Sorry, Ruby. All right. I would like to add some trees back here. And so I'm just going to do a very simple, sort of, it almost looks like a little Christmas tree. It's like a jagged line that goes up and a jagged line that goes down. And you can draw lots and lots of those. Yeah, hey guys, maybe if it's paused wherever you are, maybe quit out and then click on it again, and it should jog it. Some people are saying they had to do that. Thank you for that little tip. All right, so I'm putting just a few little, as Bob Ross calls them, happy little trees. All right. Now also, when you think about when something is closer to you and something is further away from you, what happens to the size of something when it gets further away from you? So if one of these trees was way up here, yay, I'm so glad. If one of these trees were down here, would it get smaller or larger? I think it would get larger. And I think I might also see more detail on it. All right. So now I'm going to go up to the top, and we're getting just a little, we're going to have a little fun here. I'm going to make believe that there is a giant sunset. Or it can be a sunrise, or it can be a moonrise. But I'm going to be starting with my warm colors up here at the top of my landscape. So I'm going to imagine that this is a sunset. And then I'm just going to draw lines that go from the sun all the way out. And they don't have to be perfectly spaced. Actually, I kind of like it when some of them are a little closer together and some of them are farther apart. Boop, boop. So now it looks kind of like the rays of the sun are shooting out. Very beautiful. Now guys, when we add color today, and again, you are free to do as you wish, but my idea is that I would love to start with, oh wait, where's my color wheel? Hold on. We go. There it is. So if you were with me at the beginning of the week and you made yourself a color wheel, or if you know anything at all about the color wheel, then you'll be fine. But I'm going to start with my warm colors at the top of my landscape. And I'm not necessarily going to be realistic about this. My trees might not end up being green. I don't know, they might be red. But I'm not even going to color things in. I'm going to have a sort of a blending effect that goes all the way down the page. So we've drawn our beautiful landscape, and then we're going to put color over it to kind of bring it to life. But we're going to start here, but the fun thing is we're going to work our way around the color wheel. So if I start here and I go in that direction, where will I end up at the bottom of my page? Boop. Probably green. So it'll be easier if I just go for it, and I think it will all explain itself. Now right now, this is a pretty simple drawing. I could put a lot more detail on this. I could put little patches of grass. I could put little rocks next to the rushing river. I could put little fish jumping out, some little trout, little river trout. I could put a path going back in. You know what? Actually, I am going to do that because that would be really fun. If I were hiking and I were walking along a path, what's going to happen as I draw this other line? Does anybody know what should happen if this path is getting further and further away from us and I start the line here? What do we imagine should happen? What I'm going to say I think should happen is that this line should get closer and closer and closer to the other one so that it looks like this path is going further and further away from me, and it's really little back here. Exactly. It's really small back here. It's like the yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz. Exactly. So my path lines are far apart down here, and they're incredibly close together back here. So it just went. And then I'm also going to imagine that this path comes up the back of this hill and then reappears right here. You don't have to do this part, but I'm going to. So that's my path. That's my path. And this is a hill that it goes boink, goes over. All right, so that's really fun. And what we've done by using foreground, middle ground, and background, we've created depth or space in a picture that's just one dimension, but we have created sort of an illusion of depth of space, which is a pretty neat little tool. You guys are getting all kinds of little tools this week, I hope. All right, so I'm gonna jump in with color. I'm gonna keep my little color wheel right in front of me. Boop, boop. Look at our cute little complimentary guys. All right. I'm gonna see if I can get the camera just a teensy bit higher so that you might be able to see. There we go. Y'all, check it out. It doesn't matter if yours looks anything like mine, Ruby, because yours is yours. And I'm sure it is going to be marvelous. I mean, I assume that's Ruby. All right. So I'm going to move my water a little closer. So this is where watercolor doesn't have to be extremely, intimidating, because we're not trying to stay today. We're not trying to stay inside any lines. All right, I really wish I could get all right, we'll just go for it. So I am starting with yellow at the top of my page. And guys, if you're working with markers, or if you're working with crayons or pastels, You can do this. The reason that I'm using the watercolor is because I wanted to be able to blend colors. And I'm going to work kind of quickly. You don't have to work as quickly as I'm working, but because I want this to stay wet while I get my next color on the color wheel ready to go, if I'm traveling around the color wheel this way, then orange is my next spot. And if you can get your colors, regardless of what you're using, if you can get your colors to sort of mix where they meet, in watercolor, the best way to do that is just with water. So I'm going to get my orange and put it right next to my yellow. And guys, isn't it kind of fun? We're not paying any attention to any of the outlines. We're just going for it. But if I get my orange right up next to my yellow, but then I'm just going to wash off my brush. I'm just going to smear water between those two colors. And it does a very lovely blending job. All right, so guys, what's next on our color wheel? I'm going to go red. It's okay if you can't do the melting blending thing. This is just kind of a fun way to approach this. But if you want to use markers or whatever it is that you're using, if you want to, what was I going to say? If you want to just sort of maybe color, every other sun ray, you could do orange, yellow. Then you could do your mountains in red. You could do the next layer of land in purple. You really don't have to be doing it this way. This was just kind of a fun little approach that I thought would help us kind of loosen up with our watercolor usage a little bit. And as I'm working, and as you can see, I'm really kind of racing through this because I do want to keep it kind of wet. All right, now, this is not a trick question, but we're about to switch from one land into another land. What kind of colors were we just using? We've just been using this side of the color wheel, and we're about to hop the border into cool territory. So I'm going to grab some sort of dark, hot pink that I have because I feel like that will help me transition from red into purple. And then I'm just going to stick some blue with this. But hey, let's say you have a tray of Crayola watercolors. It's going to kind of help you know, just color them in random. It's just going to be an explosion, a rainbow explosion, and it's going to be beautiful. But if you have a tray of something like Crayola or Prang watercolors, just the good old like school watercolors, those little pans that are in the tray, they'll kind of help you know what color comes next. Now, some people call this the ombre effect. That's great if that's what you want to call it. I just call it rainbow blend. And now that we've got our purple, we're going to be moving into the blue range. And I'm well aware that a pine tree isn't normally blue, but does it look like I care right now? We're just having fun washing this whole picture in rainbow color. And you know what, you guys? Probably what I'm going to do after this is all dried, I might go back in and I might take some darker watercolors, or maybe I could use colored pencil. I could turn it into a mixed media piece. But I might go back in and put like some darker orange on some of these rays. I might make those trees a little bit darker pink. I could really do anything that I want to do. All right, so we've made it almost all the way around our color wheel. We've got one remaining color. And because I love the color turquoise, I'm going to transition from this blue into green with just a touch of turquoise. And if you guys out there don't have turquoise, do you know what two colors on the color wheel you could use to mix? Wait, sorry guys, that's down in the, oopsies. Hold please, let me move this up. Sorry, I should have done that a minute ago. All right, so we're gonna be ending with our green, and that works out nicely because we're in the water. Blue and green, you got it, Ruby. So is there anyone out there who it's like really messing with you to not be coloring inside the lines we just drew? Does that like driving anybody crazy? That's funny. I'm sure that there are some that are like, no, I really want to color inside that wave line. And if you want to, that's awesome. And I'm going to show you when I finish this little green patch at the very bottom corner, I'm actually going to go back up to the top. Ruby. I'm actually going to go back up to the top because this has already dried. And I'm going to go back up to the top and show you what I might do as a second step. Now, this is a very beautiful work of art already. But I think what I might want to add after this is all dried, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back in with my black pen and add details. I might add some texture on the mountains. I might add little pine needles to those trees. I might add a little deer hanging out back here. I might draw some critters in here because you know what, guys? We know how to draw some critters these days. I might put those river trout in there that I was talking about. All kinds of things that I could add. But before we launch into that, let me show you, now that this is dry, and this really only applies if you're using watercolor, or maybe this could work also with some other mediums. But to give it a little variation, let's see if I can get a little closer. Sorry guys. There we go. All right, so now that this is dry, I could get my slightly yellowy orange. And then, for those of you who are being driven crazy by the fact that we're ignoring all of the outlines, you could go back in some of these areas and put more color on top of the color base that we just put in place. So that could be a really fun second step if you feel like it. And I do feel like it. What color makers are you guys using out there right now? If you are using something other than paint, show me in the old comments what you guys are using and let me know how it's going. I think I definitely want to outline or put a little bit more red at the base of these mountains. I think that could be pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Okay, markers. How's that going, Case? Is that working for you? Chalk. Nice. All right, so guys, when we're done with this, I really, really would love to see what you have come up with the tools that you are using. Does anybody remember that word that we talked about yesterday that means when something really shows up really well against something else. And it was a word that started with a C. And we talked about it with our complementary, with our warm and our cool colors when we did our bird yesterday. But when these two colors are next to each other, or when a warm and a cool color are next to each other, there is something that is called contrast. And they are complementary, that's one of the C words, but there is contrast that happens. And that's when something that is warm against something cool, or it can also be something that is dark against something that is light. So I think what I'm going to do right here, because I want some contrast on my little path that I created, I think what I want to do is get a slightly, I'm going to use the same blue, but I'm just going to make it a little darker. Sorry guys, that's the noise of my tray. So that is another kind of contrast. Dark blue against light blue. So that is showing up a lot better than it was, because now it is darker. And that is called contrast. Contrast can work in a lot of different ways. So now that we've colored in that little path, he's showing up a lot better. All right, guys, so this was kind of a stretch today. This was a little bit of an abstract representation of a landscape. This is not what you would call a realistic representation. I've never seen a landscape that looked a whole lot like that. All right, so it seems like we had a few technical difficulties today, and I hope that didn't make your art difficult as well. And you know what? If it did, maybe this was just the first time that you ever tried something like this, and maybe you try it again. I think I might try it again, and think of all of the different landscapes that you could create and do this same process with. Maybe next time I'll actually do mine horizontally, or landscape orientation. But for today, this is what we got. Yeah, I'm going to work on this a little bit more, because I feel like the areas where I put some darker color back in on top, I feel like that kind of helps those parts of the painting kind of come to life a little bit. That's old contrast, man. Really can't replace contrast. So, it's a gloomy day here in Nashville. It is raining. We need the rain, I know, but it is cloudy and wet, and I don't know, it's kind of cozy. I kind of love it. So I hope that you had fun with this today. I hope you had fun loosening up just a little bit. Do you know what I meant to tell you before we started this whole thing? Was a little something special about markers and turning them into paint. Has anybody ever done that before? Before I go, can I just show you something? Because if you do this project, and if you want to do it over again, I just want to show you something really, really, really quick that you can do with marker and just a paintbrush and some water. So hold on, what am I doing? Okay. So let's say I don't have this beautiful tray of watercolors, and all I have are some markers and some water and a paintbrush. So what I can do is just kind of scribble in a little bit of color And then let's say I scribble in a little bit of green down here. But Miss Coates, you say, you didn't color that in all the way. Well, I'm just going to get some water on my paintbrush. And it's not completely flawless, but it is kind of fun because the water will spread. It'll cause your marker to sort of start to bleed into the water that you're applying to it. It's kind of a neat and fun little way to play. Like if you don't have any paints, or if you just wanted to try playing around with this, it really is a fun thing to do. You know, just next time you want to do something that's not regular old markers or regular old paint, you can do both. Pretty cool, huh? Ta-da! All right, so that will do it for today. I told my viewers yesterday that tomorrow's art lesson is going to be, instead of at 2 o'clock Central Time, it's going to be at noon Central Time. So just put that in your little thinker. And you know what? It's okay if people don't know, because maybe, I think you already know this, that the videos stay available on Instagram for 24 hours, and then I put them on my YouTube channel, which I think you know is there, but let me just tell you again. On my Instagram little page up where it says stuff about me, there's a little YouTube link right up there, and you can go click on it. So that's it for today. We're almost done with Color Week, and I have a few things up my sleeve as options for tomorrow, but I haven't really decided yet. You know me, Little Miss fly by the seat of my pants. So we'll all figure it out together tomorrow. All right, so happy Thursday, and remember to wash your hands, drink your water, be good to one another. Today might not be a good day to go outside unless you love splashing in puddles, and in that case, please do, and send me a photo. All right, all my love to all of you, and until tomorrow, bye.